to travel all the way out here. Director Hardig, thank you for being here. Would you say that the goal of history, even if it's not properly carried out, would you say that the goal of history is to be objective?
Thank you, sir, for the question. You know, I think that there are many goals of history, and certainly as you collect, as we do, examine evidence, create scholarship.
Is objectivity one of the goals of history?
We strive to be objective and nonpartisan and not based on any ideology.
So it's one of the goals. Doesn't that seem a little bit concerning? It certainly does to me, because as part of this white supremacy document that your organization has promoted, objectivity is a core and defining aspect of white supremacy culture. Do you think that it's the goal of the Smithsonian Institution to promote white supremacy culture?
Sir, do you mind sharing with me which document?
It's white supremacy culture right here. This is part of the mass action toolkit that your organization has promoted for several years now under your leadership. Are you promoting a white supremacy culture at the Smithsonian?
Am I promoting a white?
Ma'am, is this a difficult question?
No, sir, I'm just thinking about the mass action toolkit. We didn't develop it, but back to your question, no, we're not promoting any ideology.
Does it concern you that your goal is objectivity, one of your goals is objectivity, and your mass action toolkit references objectivity as a defining characteristic of white supremacy culture?
It's not our toolkit.
It is your toolkit. You've been promoting it for quite some time.
We did not come up with the toolkit, sir.
But you've been promoting it.
It is used as a reference, I believe, probably in 2019, 2020.
Yes, under your leadership, it has been used as a reference. Is Mickey Mouse racist?
Mickey Mouse is not racist.
It's not racist. According to the Smithsonian Institution, one of your exhibits referenced Mickey Mouse as representing, quote, vestiges of longstanding traditions of blackface minstrelsy. Would you describe that as racist?
No, the historical trajectory of the origins of Mickey Mouse tied directly
so Mickey Mouse is rooted in racism. Is that your testimony?
No, sir, it's rooted in minstrelsy.
Minstrelsy, and you don't think that blackface minstrelsy is racist?
It had certain obvious racial overtones that have been well documented.
Do you think that that's problematic, that Mickey Mouse also has those racial overtones?
It's not for me to determine what's problematic. It's determined to me what's accurate.
Is that right?
Yes,
is it important to be polite?
Excuse me, sir?
Is it important to be polite?
Yes, sir.
It's also interesting because the same mass action toolkit that your organization has been promoting references politeness as a defining characteristic of white supremacy culture. Ma'am, are you a white supremacist?
No, sir.
You're not. Can you help me square why your organization says that being polite is part of being a white supremacist?
I'm not exactly familiar with that passage of the mass action toolkit, which is not
I can show you the
one that we
passage. It's
developed.
right here.
I don't, pardon me?
I said I just read you the passage from it.
And then your question was, sir?
We're going to move on. What is Latina power?
What is Latino power?
Latina power.
Latina power would be the forces derived from being a Latina.
Do you think that it's appropriate for the Smithsonian Institution to sell Latina power paraphernalia? Hats, mugs, other things that say Latina power?
I believe that the merchandise our store sells
I'm asking you if it's appropriate.
Tries to reflect the richness of the communities.
So your testimony is that it is appropriate?
Those are your words, sir.
I'm asking you, is it appropriate to sell Latina power paraphernalia? It's a yes or no question.
I don't have control over what is sold
I'm asking you if
stores.
it's appropriate. I didn't ask you if you have control over it. Is
I
it
understood
appropriate?
you, sir. Yeah.
Yes or no?
Again, we strive to represent all Americans, and including
Is it
in our
appropriate, yes or
merchandise.
no?
We strive to represent all Americans in our museums, including in our merchandise.
Is that right? My
Yes,
time's
sir.
up.
Thank you, sir.
From the very first question, this hearing pivots toward a much larger debate than history itself. The congressman begins by asking whether objectivity should be the goal of historical institutions, a question that appears straightforward before taking an unexpected turn. By introducing an internal diversity toolkit that allegedly describes objectivity as a characteristic of white supremacy culture, he forces the Smithsonian's leadership into an uncomfortable position. The exchange immediately raises a question many Americans are asking. When public institutions funded by taxpayers redefine long-standing civic values, where is the line between historical interpretation and ideological advocacy? This isn't merely about one document. It's about whether Americans can still expect national institutions to serve as neutral guardians of history rather than participants in modern political battles. The conversation intensifies as the questioning shifts from abstract principles to cultural symbols. Mickey Mouse, one of America's most recognizable icons, is suddenly placed under scrutiny for historical connections to minstrel traditions. The witness attempts to distinguish between documenting historical origins and labeling the character itself as racist. But the distinction becomes increasingly difficult to communicate under rapid-fire questioning. This exchange highlights a broader challenge facing museums, universities, and educational institutions. How do they present uncomfortable historical facts without appearing to condemn the cultural symbols millions of Americans grew up with? It's a balancing act between historical accuracy and public trust, and moments like these reveal just how fragile that balance has become. The congressman's underlying argument is that if government-supported institutions endorse language that appears to favor one identity while questioning universally accepted virtues, they risk alienating the very public they are meant to represent. Whether viewers agree with that conclusion or not, the exchange exposes a growing divide over what inclusivity should actually look like. Should public institutions actively promote identity-based narratives, or should they emphasize shared national values that transcend race and ethnicity? For Americans, the implications extend well beyond museum exhibits. Public confidence in institutions influences everything from education to policymaking and even economic performance. When trust erodes, political polarization deepens, making it harder to reach consensus on spending priorities, workforce development, and cultural investments that shape the nation's future. Taxpayers ultimately fund many of these institutions, making accountability a central concern regardless of political affiliation. This hearing therefore becomes more than a dispute over exhibits or educational materials. It reflects a larger national conversation about how American history should be presented, how public money should be used, and whether institutions can maintain credibility in an increasingly divided society.